Hey folks, welcome to Ask the Editor with Ellen Campbell. My name is Walt, and you are watching the show on the Keystroke Medium Network. Today we are going to have Ellen answering your editing questions about your manuscripts, your mayhem, and anything else you've happened to have penned nicely or unnicely. She's going to edit me later in post. It's fine. Ellen, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am trying to stay out of trouble, which is very hard with the giant 70-pound mayhem I have behind me.
Oh.
And hopefully later on today, you're going to show us a program that will help us edit repetitive words, such as the word mayhem, which I love. But before we get into that, what are you up to right now?
Well, I'm still working on the Beyond the Stars, Dark Beyond the Stars, Volume 6. And I have the second book, Prince Ventar of Trun, that I'm working on. I've done for Andy Lambert. I did his first book.
How long did it take you to learn how to say that?
I think that's the first time I've ever said it out loud.
And you did magnificently.
Thank you. And I'm also working on Keystroke Medium's first kind of writer's life type book with Lauren Johnson.
Really?
Yeah, I'm editing that. Kind of writing tips and.
Now, is that? I was going to say, is that like tips for when you're trying to write, or how to do it and like balance a job, family?
All that, and peppered with anecdotes, and we're going to see how that flies. It was Lauren's idea. Lauren's full of great ideas.
That's awesome. Now, are you quoted in the book as saying, "I'll cut you"?
I am not, or if I am, I haven't gotten there
yet. Fantastic. I don't see. We're going to jump into questions because, after all, this is Ask the Editor. And I have a multi-part question. I don't see an attribution as to who it's to, but whoever you are out there, you're wonderful, and we thank you. Part A. You have a list of vile, horrible, reprehensible, and words that will not be used on pain of death. The word "was" did not appear on the list, along with a few others. Why not?
Actually, the list is updated almost every time I start a new project. So "was" is actually on the list now and has been for several weeks. This question came to us probably a month ago. Well, no, it's been about 3 weeks ago before we recorded episode 3. So yeah, and prior to that, I had already added it to the list. The list is now something like 5 pages long.
Oh dear God.
Yeah, and it's not, well, it should not be used on pain of death. It's stop using them unless you have to have them. Sort of.
So it's kind of like the word "that."
That and "had." Yeah.
So do you, when, I know sometimes when I hear people speaking and they say had, or
yeah. Well, that's
that.
In certain cases. I mean, he had a problem. What are you going to do? He'd had a problem. He had a problem. But people who had been, when you could say "was" or strike that and write something else entirely. Yeah, it always boils down to the words Ellen doesn't like, doesn't
it? we don't judge, but we love. Part the B. Do you have any advice or opinions on the topic? Maybe other words not on your death list that might be overused and can lead to horrific writing.
Read that to me again. I got and then my mind wandered to the death list, and
I'll try and use Josh's of doom in here. Do you have any advice or opinions on the topic? Maybe other words not on your death list that might be overused and can lead to horrific writing.
Oh yes, let me get out my subordinate soapbox. One of the words that I loathe that don't ever actually make it to the death list. And it's not a death list. It's maybe a DEFCON 4 and 5 and 6 list.
There's an emergency, but we still have hope.
Right. Yeah, the words placed, within, and before. I hate these words. I hate them. the way they get overused, and I don't know why, but y'all want to make everything so grandiose. And would you in real life actually ever say, honey, I'm home. I placed the groceries on the kitchen table. They're right there before you. Would you? Don't do it that way.
I'm going to do that tonight, and I'm going to film it.
Don't waste your gravitas on the mundane. It just don't. So that's within, before, and placed. Why? When you place something somewhere, that implies that you're doing it with reverence or with some kind of import. I didn't place I did. I placed my drink on my desk, but who cares? Was it really that important? Did it need announcing? So
that almost comes into play due to many people having access to script writing, doesn't it? Because now you're instead of moving the action forward, you're actually detailing a scene so it can be put on stage or a screen or what have you.
Well, I'm not even talking about stage direction here. I'm just talking about pretentious wording, pretentious word choices. So, read it aloud. Would you say it that way?
I might, but then my wife might make ridiculous amounts of fun of me.
Oh, and within is just ridiculous. The way
he placed it within.
Oh yes, and within the grocery bag was a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, and a dozen eggs. Really? Really?
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And number C, are there any other ways to handle was or to be verbs other than replace with an action verb, move adjective to before a noun, transform noun or adjective to action verb, or rearrange the entire sentence?
Yes, you can burn your manuscript. Pretty much got them covered there. Yeah.
Pretty much.
But that's a lot of options, and nobody said you had to do it to all of them. Anybody that ever tells you you must never, ever, is wrong. They just are, because there are always exceptions. English is it's a judgment call so much of the time. Even the English rules, sometimes you break them for the right effect.
I didn't do it. Wasn't my fault.
No, Kayleen did it. Call me back.
Kayleen.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are made of steel, because we know she has a frantic love of swords.
She does.
Somebody named Steel Chakram, because that's got to be a screen name. Why do people like cats instead of dogs? Dogs instead of cats?
Because people like unconditional love.
And cats have the love of an angry 40-year-old?
Cats are just like roommates. Cats are just not. Cats are not your friends. Cats are overlords or aliens. Or I don't dislike cats. I've had a cat, but dogs are companions.
Right on. Nothing like a wagging tail when you come home.
Yeah, as long as your shoes are intact.
I don't have to worry about that. I just have to worry about him chasing the one cat. One cat, he's fine. The other cat, he's a maniac. Oh, and there he goes.
Yeah.
What is one of the easiest things that people can do when they are going through their manuscript for style choices? So you had spoken before about reading everything out loud. Mm-hmm. And when it comes out of your mouth, you're more key to like focus on something that doesn't sound right. Mm-hmm. Is there another thing that you can do prior to submitting your work to an editor? So you've, excuse me, allergies. We go through it, we read it. It, excuse me, it sounds good coming out, but there's still stuff in there. You've spoken before about putting it in a drawer or letting somebody else read it. Do you have another tip that you can throw down there for incoming authors?
Yeah, I do. use the native spell checker in your software. I'm not saying it's the be all end all. I'm not saying it's going to save your life. I'm saying it will keep you from looking like a complete idiot.
He loves spell check.
Idiot when your editor gets the manuscript and there are 10,000 things still highlighted in red because you didn't even bother to scroll down the page and see if you had mistyped pterodactyl. Dexter.
He loves pterodactyls too. And before on our last segment, you had gone through and looked through Microsoft Word and some of the features of that. But you were correcting a document using an English spell checker for a UK English document.
Yeah.
So that's something that people should go through ahead of time and just kind of click all those dialog boxes.
Well, first, click all. Well,
yeah, click all the the choice boxes, such as UK English versus that.
Choice boxes. I mean, yes, because there are going to be categories that you don't want it to alert you to. Like, I did not want to be alerted that it was misspelled, but I knew it was misspelled, but it's the English spelling. So yeah, that was kind of a fiasco. It made Word look worse even than it actually is. It's not horrible. It really isn't. But it's kind of horrible.
I just got a question from a writer friend of mine, and he wanted to know, do you style format before you send to an editor? Like, do you put in, would you as an editor rather have something like words hyphenated and everything formatted so that it's justified, or does that not matter to you?
Hyphenation of words is determined by the word, not by the formatting. So,
well, no, I mean, do you want those boxes clicked so that words are actually hyphenated in the document when you receive it to edit? Versus,
what program are you working in?
Any writing program. So for example, you can actually click off whether words are hyphenated or not, so that instead of
hyphenate them if they need to be hyphenated.
I might not be using the right word. So like if the word is too long for the end of the line, and
whether the words are broken or not.
Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty standard nowadays that your word's going to go on to the next page, that it's justified, the margins are justified, or that it's justified not justified but aligned left, and it will just move as it needs to.
So there's no specific style that you would rather get a document in?
Basic normal. Yeah, I like Times New Roman, double spaced, indent, first line of a paragraph. Don't use tabs. Never ever use tabs. Never tab anything. Just don't. And that's about it. And that's in Word. That's the styles pane is what you're talking about. Just pick normal in the styles pane, and you're good to go.
Right on. So today we're going to be highlighting another program that you can use in your search for the better, bigger manuscript. What are we working on today?
Today I'm going to show you something called Perfectit, which is a lifesaver for me. I actually love Perfectit, but it might be a little more than you actually want to use yourself. Okay, so we're going to take this same cancel. Let's close that. We're going to open that. Now, Perfectit is an add-in. You buy this on the internet and you add it to your Microsoft Word.
And about how much does this cost?
Perfectit costs $70 a year. But for me, what this program does is make sure that you're consistent with everything. Okay. See, I've got this one already set up to UK spelling. Okay. And make sure I have no markup. And you just start. The worst thing about Perfectit is that it's not the fastest program in the world.
Now, does it? I see that you're working out of a cloud edition. For those who like to sit somewhere where there's not a lot of Wi-Fi or anything, do they have a non-cloud edition?
They do for PC.
Okay.
Okay, see, here we go. Refit, refit. Now, because refit is not actually a hyphenated word, I'm going to go ahead and fix all of them. Fix all down here at the bottom. And then it will you have to manually push it to the next one. Now it's looking whether you use the right dash, N dash hyphen, or go away, or M dash. Okay. I prefer toward. I generally correct it back to toward. So I'm going to fix all of those. Call that my house style. I like toward next. But it's checking a whole lot of things that you don't see in fiction very often. Things like tables and common typos. If you swear words, it's always going to ask you if you want something else.
Bugger to buffer.
It's not what I want, so you just tell it next and skip it. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. The abbreviations is handy.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it just works right inside of the program. Does it only work for Word, or do they have other options as well?
It's for Word, period. Yeah, just for Word. And we only just got it for Word for Mac last year.
Oh, no kidding.
Do we need to define them? We don't need to define them, so we're just going to move on. So as you can see, it does all of this at the end. Oh, here we go. This is good. Choose your preferred capitalization. Okay, admiralty is actually sometimes a proper noun, sometimes it's not. So we're going to click on each. That's correct. It needs to be lowercase there, so we're not going to fix that. So the option to fix, see, that's wrong. So we're going to fix that. The option to fix each one individually is great.
That's pretty cool. Now, when it's got so many that it reaches the bottom, does it have a scroll that allows you to?
Yeah. It does.
All right. So you don't have to fix certain number before you get to other instances.
No. Yeah, I mean, you just skip over it, and you're good to go. So we're going to go the Admirals. Again, here's another one that's incorrect, so we're going to fix it individually. Okay, we're going to check these each. And those are all correct, so we're going to move on. Okay, Admiral as a proper noun. That's correct. Correct. Well, I already know all these are correct, so I'm going to go ahead and move on so you don't have to watch me do that, but you get the idea.
Right on.
And we're going to skip that one as well. That's another one where white the color or white the captain. Don't know what I did with the report.
So it seems pretty easy to navigate as far
Very
as
easy. Very, very, very. Okay, I'm right here. See where it says type any change? This is in this last section. It will allow you to make manual changes. Okay, because this is wrong, I'm going to go ahead and fix it. Stop it. Okay, want that. There.
Now, will this also do certain grammar applications as well? So like
it does a couple. No. See here, it's kind of really limited to consistency and really basic errors. It's not going to catch a lot of typos. It's not going to catch grammar problems. See, now it's moved on to list and punctuation, whether you capitalized in your bullet points, things that we're not using.
Now, how long does it take to go through with perfect it?
This 8,000 word document or 5,000 word document took 7 minutes this morning. I believe. Yeah, about 7 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, because I ran it all the way through to the end. Sometimes but okay, next. I'm not going to do the cleanup actions just so that we can get to the end.
Right on.
And look at the summary of changes. And this is what we.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically gives you an end user report. So it gives you everything that you did, that you changed.
Everything that you didn't do as well.
Oh, that's so groovy.
Right. And no matter who you are, hang on, stop. No matter who you are, consistency is something that, especially when you're 100,000 words into something, or even if you're just 30,000 words into something, did you always hyphenate kid friendly? You know, are you going to remember that 40 pages apart? So it's a great little tool. I love it. I run it on everybody's stuff.
Now, is that something that'll operate in real time as well, so that you can catch the mistakes as they happen?
No, it checks it well. It checks it afterward. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the person who's doing kid friendly will just have to run it later.
Right. Yeah. Again, and this is while I love this, I love Perfect It, and I would never tell anybody not to buy it. It might not be what you're looking for. If you're looking for a good all-around editor, in the end, you always need to come back to a person. These are tools. They're not ever going to make up for lazy writing or bad editing. So, but this is a nice, useful one that doesn't make me curse very often. And because I know what I've done, what it's doing, and where it's going next, I know when I can shut it off.
And you said it's about $70 a year.
$70 a year, yeah.
Yep. How's the support for it? Any if you have a problem?
I don't have any problems with it, so I've never had support.
And
when I renewed it, I had a license on 2 different computers last year. I took it down to 1, and it canceled the wrong one, and I had support. They fixed that in like 10 seconds.
Oh, that's groovy. Did you talk to a live person, or was it like chat? Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when they helped you, you could fire off all sorts of emojis and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't do that. not to the help desk.
Gotcha. Awesome. So Perfect It. Just type it into a search bar. They can find it, and then plug and play.
Editing, Perfect It, or you can find it in the Microsoft Store.
Excellent. Well, we've been chatting about Perfect It with Ellen Campbell on Keystrokes Medium Ask the Editor. I am Walt, and they've been kind enough to let me play in their sandbox. And until next week, thank you, Ellen.
Thanks, Walt.